The illusion of strength is a mask worn by many, yet beneath it lies the fragile core of weakness few dare to confront. Machiavelli taught us that true power does not announce itself with noise or fury. It moves silently, unseen, crushing opposition by exploiting hidden vulnerabilities. A weak mindset is not merely failure. It is the gateway to manipulation, collapse, and disgrace. It is the unseen enemy within, sabotaging every step before the world even takes notice. This video will expose 8 unmistakable signs of such weakness, those fatal cracks in mental armor that invite destruction. Each sign is a subtle betrayal of power, a psychological fault line where dominance is lost and subjugation begins. You will learn to identify these markers, not as the masses do, but as an elite strategist does, with cold detachment and ruthless intent. By mastering this knowledge, you weaponize your own mind, eliminate the toxic patterns of weakness, and ascend above those who remain trapped in self-delusion. This is no lesson in comfort. This is the blueprint of silent dominance, carved from the cold truths Machiavelli distilled centuries ago. Rule 1 is the illusion of openness masks fragility. According to Machiavelli, he who shows his hand too soon lays the path for his own downfall. You believe that by sharing your thoughts and feelings, you build strength. You think vulnerability is a fortress, a badge of honesty in a world of deception. But that is the first and deadliest illusion. Openness is never strength. It is surrender. Every word you give away, every feeling you expose, becomes a blueprint others study to break you down. I've seen it again and again. People who parade their transparency like armor, only to reveal their weakest points. They justify decisions endlessly, explain intentions in painful detail, seek approval at every turn. This is not confidence. This is desperation. A weak mind hopes that by laying itself bare, it will earn safety. But the opposite happens. Exposure invites attack. Those who overshare become predictable. They give away their moves before the game begins. Opponents don't need brute force. They only need patience and insight. Knowing exactly where the cracks lie, they strike silently. A whispered insult, a question that cuts too deep, a glance that exposes hidden doubt. Slowly, relentlessly, the facade crumbles. The weak mind collapses under pressure because it handed over the keys to its fortress. In social settings, this manifests as the chronic oversharer, the one who can't hold silence, the one who feels compelled to fill every pause with explanations, apologies, or stories. You watch them and see the damage. Trust broken, respect lost, control slipping like sand through fingers. True power thrives in concealment. Silence is not absence, it is dominance. Strategic ambiguity is a weapon sharper than any blade. By controlling what others see, by revealing only what serves your agenda, you manipulate the battlefield before it even begins. You bend social dynamics invisibly, guiding others like pawns without their knowledge. The strongest minds operate behind a veil, hidden and unreadable. Their power is silent, invisible, undeniable. They understand that openness is a weakness, not a virtue. To be open is to be vulnerable. To be vulnerable is to invite destruction. You must learn to weaponize your silence. Hide your plans, your fears, your intentions. Let others scramble in the dark, guessing at your next move. This is the unspoken language of control. The mind that reveals everything loses everything. Embrace concealment. Reject the illusion that transparency builds strength. This lie will cost you more than you can imagine. Remember, those who expose their full hand do not win the game. They lose quietly, crushed by their own weaknesses. Power is not loud. It is hidden. It is silence. Rule 2. Emotional reactivity is the currency of the weak. According to Machiavelli, the man who is easily angered is already defeated. You believe that showing your emotions proves you are real, honest, authentic, but that belief is a trap. Every time you react impulsively, every time you lose control to anger, fear, or frustration, you reveal a battlefield inside where strength should reside. This is not strength. It is weakness in its purest form. I have felt it myself. The surge of rage when cornered, the defensive snap that cuts deeper than any blade. Those moments don't empower you. They betray you. They lay bare the fractures within your command, exposing the vulnerable core that others learn to exploit without mercy. You think your words or actions are your own. They are not. They become weapons wielded by those who understand the currency of emotional reactivity. Observe the world around you, the social predators, the manipulators, the power players. Watch for the twitch of a nerve, the flash of an eye, the break in composure. They do not need to attack directly. They provoke until your reaction becomes their victory. A careless insult, a calculated slight, all designed to draw you out. The more you give them, the more control you lose. Your outbursts become their ammunition, your fear, their leverage. Power, however, lies in the opposite, in the cold, calculated silence, in the refusal to grant your opponents the satisfaction of a response. The mind that masters itself is the mind that dominates. You must train yourself to observe those internal fires, the impulses to lash out, to defend, to explain, and instead hold them back. This is not denial. It is command. Stillness becomes your weapon. Silence, your armor. You become unreadable, unassailable. They expect chaos. You give calm. They hunger for reaction. You starve them. Without your emotional currency, their power evaporates. They fumble blindly, grasping at shadows where once they found leverage. This restraint does not make you cold or dead inside. It makes you lethal, emotionally detached, yes, but in control. You become the calm eye of the storm, the immovable presence that breaks wills without a word. They come expecting a fight. You give them none. Instead, you take everything. Remember this with brutal clarity. Every emotional eruption is a surrender. Every impulsive reaction is a loss. You cannot afford these bankruptcies. Your mind must be a fortress, not a battlefield. Those who conquer do so not with fire, but with ice. They remain unmoved, unread, unstoppable. Your emotions are currency. Spend them carelessly, and you will be bankrupt before you realize it. The world takes what you give. Do not give them chaos. Give them silence. Give them control. The mind that conquers is the mind that remains unmoved. Rule 3. The fear of isolation reveals a weak mind. According to Machiavelli, he who fears to stand alone will never stand at all. You dread the silence, the empty room, the sudden absence of voices that once filled the space. That fear, the fear of being alone, excluded. It gnaws quietly, but relentlessly. It shapes everything you do, often without your awareness. You bend to the crowd. You betray your own principles, all to avoid that crushing solitude. I have seen this countless times. People clinging desperately to groups, swallowing their pride, erasing their truths to fit in. They become shadows of themselves, codependent, lost in herd mentality. The very thing they seek, acceptance, becomes a cage, a prison of their own making. This fear is the fulcrum on which all power pivots, more potent than chains, threats, or violence. The promise of belonging, the threat of exclusion. These are invisible levers that pull weak minds into predictable, controllable patterns. They crave approval like oxygen, drowning slowly under its suffocating weight. Observe the social landscape. Watch how manipulators exploit this need. They offer inclusion to gain obedience. They threaten rejection to breed compliance. The weak surrender their autonomy, becoming puppets dancing on invisible strings. The mind enslaved by fear is easily broken and endlessly commanded. But true power lies elsewhere. It lies in solitude, in standing apart when everyone else clings together. The mind that fears isolation is a slave. The mind that commands it is a king. Solitude is not punishment. It is the crucible in which strength is forged. Cold, silent, indestructible. Alone, you shed the chains of approval. You reclaim freedom to think, to act, to dominate. Those who fear isolation become desperate and predictable. Their weakness is obvious. They compromise, conform, and collapse. Those who embrace it become untouchable. They walk paths forbidden to the masses, trapped in echo chambers of groupthink. Their independence is a weapon, carving through control with quiet precision. The silent power of self-reliance is the ultimate rebellion. It destroys every mechanism others use to own you. Guilt, shame, the need for validation. It is refusal to be manipulated, to be owned, to be broken by fear. Understand this clearly. The price of belonging is your freedom. The cost of fearing isolation is your soul. To rise above, you must learn to stand alone, not in weakness, but in command of the silence that terrifies others. You must embrace solitude as the birthplace of power, the shield that guards your mind from invasion. Isolation is not defeat. It is your most potent weapon. Use it, own it, control it, make it your throne, because the truth remains. He who fears to stand alone will never stand at all. Rule 4. The need for constant approval exposes fragile self-worth. According to Machiavelli, he who seeks applause from others is already a prisoner. You hunger for their approval like it's your last breath. Every nod, every smile, every sign of acceptance. It feeds a desperate void inside. But that hunger is a poison, a trap disguised as sustenance. It chains you to others' fleeting judgments, making you their prisoner. I've watched it play out too often. People twisting themselves into shapes just to be liked. They justify their actions incessantly, excuse every misstep, explain away every silence. Their lives become a constant performance because beneath the surface, their self-worth is fragile. Tethered to the fickle opinions of others, a single criticism feels like a death sentence. This need for approval is not harmless. It exposes you, makes you predictable, easy to manipulate. Those who understand this prey on it, like sharks sensing blood. Approval becomes a leash wrapped tight around your neck. You surrender your autonomy every time you ask for validation. You become a puppet, your strings pulled by applause and fear of rejection. Mastery demands something colder, a silent self-assurance that no external voice can shake. The kind of strength that doesn't need an audience, doesn't crave recognition. You learn to conceal not only your failures, but your victories as well. You hide what you are truly worth, because your value is no one's business but your own. By doing this, you weaponize your confidence. You become unreadable, without clear signs of weakness or need. Others have nothing to exploit. They guess, they probe, but you remain a fortress, unmoved, untouchable. The quiet mind commands respect not through noise, but through stillness. It forces others to chase shadows. You become the ghost in the room, the silence that unsettles more than any shout. While others scramble for applause, you hold the real power, independence. The need for constant approval is the seed of collapse. It erodes your will until you are nothing but an echo of others' desires. The harsh truth is this: people will never give you the validation you crave freely. They will use it to control you. Every compliment is a test, every smile a transaction. Those who depend on it hand over their sovereignty. The only way to break free is to own your worth quietly and completely. To stop asking, to stop explaining, to stop begging for acceptance. True strength is born in the cold certainty of your own value. Invisible to others, but undeniable to yourself. Remember, the applause you seek is a leash disguised as a gift. The mind that commands respect is the mind that demands nothing from others. In the end, your freedom lies in the silence of self-possession, untouchable, unseen, and utterly sovereign. Rule 5. Blame shifting is the mark of a collapsing mind. According to Machiavelli, the man who refuses to own his fault forfeits all power. You want to avoid the weight of responsibility, to push the blame onto others, onto colleagues, friends, circumstances beyond your control. It seems easier, safer, but this is the hallmark of a mind already cracking beneath the pressure. Shifting blame is surrender, masquerading as defense. The fragile ego's last attempt to escape exposure. I have witnessed this weakness in myself and others. The immediate urge to deny fault, to accuse anyone but yourself. It is not courage, it is fear. Fear of facing brutal truths, fear of being unmasked. Those who refuse to own their failures expose a mind unwilling to confront reality, unwilling to learn, unwilling to grow. They spiral into a dangerous cycle of evasion and deception. Watch closely those who rely on blame shifting. Their relationships erode, trust fractures and then shatters. Allies turn wary, enemies embolden. Blame breeds suspicion. The cracks appear in hesitation, deflection, excuses. A brittle mask slowly breaking. Predators in social and power games sniff this out instantly. They strike with surgical precision. Weak minds become targets, preyed upon and exploited without mercy. True power demands ownership. To control your narrative, you must first claim your mistakes. Silently, without drama, without excuses. Speak less, observe more. Accept fault with a cold steadiness that disarms. When you own your errors, you deny your opponents the leverage they crave. You become a fortress, unshakable, calculating, in control. Blame itself is a weapon, ruthless and sharp, but it must be wielded with precision, and only against those who deserve it. Never use it to deflect personal failure. That is weakness, not strength. Accountability becomes armor. It builds respect and fear in equal measure. It projects a mind so disciplined, so composed, that no assault can break it. The elite mind does not collapse under pressure. It stands firm, endures the blows, and uses them to sharpen its edge. The moment you stop shifting blame, you begin to reclaim power. Each acceptance of fault becomes a stone laid in the foundation of your dominion. Remember this brutal truth. Every time you blame another, you hand over a piece of your power. Every time you own your faults, you take it back, Silently, coldly, without apology. The world respects those who stand in the ruins of their mistakes and refuse to fall. Blame shifting marks the collapsing mind. Accountability forges the unbreakable one. Rule 6. Rigidity. In belief is the prison of the weak. According to Machiavelli, a fixed mind is a dead mind. Power belongs to those who flow. You hold your beliefs like a shield, clinging tightly, convinced that certainty is strength, but rigidity is a prison, a cage forged by your own stubbornness. The world does not wait. It shifts, twists, and reshapes itself with every breath. Those who refuse to bend become statues stranded in a storm. They shatter. They fall. I have seen it again and again. Minds trapped by unyielding dogma, refusing to adapt, convinced their truths are unassailable. They build walls of arguments, barricades of certainty, and call it defense. But it is weakness. These walls trap them, isolate them. Their refusal to pivot blinds them to the subtle traps laid by others. Deception slides past unnoticed. Opportunities vanish while they argue the same point. In social arenas, rigidity reveals itself through inflexible stances, harsh judgments, and emotional clinging to narratives. You watch them fail to shift when the tides change, drowning in their own fixed perspective. Their world is black and white, and in that rigidity, they become obvious, predictable, easy to manipulate. Machiavelli taught that power flows only to those who adapt, those who flow like water around obstacles, distorting reality to their advantage. Flexibility is not surrender. It is mastery. It is the silent weapon of those who understand that control lies in ambiguity. Strategic ambiguity means shifting beliefs like shadows, concealing your true intent beneath layers of unpredictability. When you refuse to be pinned down, rivals grasp at nothing. They stumble blindly, their plans unraveling before they begin. Your mind remains a mystery, a force that adapts and evolves. By controlling your ideological elasticity, you weaponize uncertainty itself. You keep enemies off balance, unsure where to strike next. In this fluidity lies silent dominance, power that moves unseen, unstoppable. Look at those who cling to rigid certainty. They alienate allies, burn bridges, and isolate themselves. Their inflexibility breeds enemies and fractures trust. They become prisoners of their own minds, locked in illusions of strength. Desperation lurks beneath their conviction, a shadow they cannot escape. True mastery is becoming a shadow, unpredictable, elusive, fluid. You refuse to be trapped by one truth, one narrative. You bend reality to your will. You own the chaos instead of succumbing to it. And in that ownership, you reign supreme. Remember, rigidity is death masquerading as strength. The fixed mind breaks under pressure. The flexible mind controls the game. You cannot conquer by standing still. Power belongs to those who move with the world's shifting tides, unseen and unchallenged. Rule 7. Ignoring feedback is the death of the elite mind. According to Machiavelli, silence is not ignorance. It is the art of watching what others miss. You believe that ignoring feedback is strength, that shutting out voices of criticism or opinion protects you from weakness. But there are two ways to ignore. One is arrogance. The other is dependency. Both will destroy you. Arrogance blinds. It turns your mind into a fortress, sealed from all outside influence. You refuse to hear warnings, advice, or truths that disrupt your narrative. In this isolation, you become brittle. Your vision narrows until you stumble blindly, unaware of the shifting dangers around you. The world moves without you. You fall behind. Dependency is no better. This is the opposite extreme, where you swallow every word as gospel, desperate for approval, validation, or direction. You become a puppet, dancing on strings pulled by every critic, ally, or rival. Your mind is no longer your own. You lose control of your decisions, your power leaking away with every opinion accepted without filter. Machiavelli taught that power resides in neither extreme. True dominance lies in the calculated absorption of feedback, in the ability to listen, not with open arms, but with cold calculation. You take what serves you, what sharpens your advantage. You discard what weakens you. Silently, without remorse or emotional attachment. This is not passive listening. It is an active, strategic process. Social predators constantly test you, offering feedback as bait. Their words are loaded with traps, manipulations hidden beneath the surface. To survive and dominate, you must learn to detect these lies before they take root. Every suggestion, every criticism carries a hidden agenda. By mastering this selective perception, you turn feedback into a weapon, a tool for manipulation rather than a source of weakness. You control what information enters your mind and what flows back into the world. This control extends beyond simple listening. It dictates how others perceive you, what you reveal, and when. You shape narratives invisibly, bending reality to your will. The elite mind is not reactive. It is calculating. It absorbs without surrendering. It listens, filters, and adapts, never giving away its true intentions. Silence is not empty. It is dominance, impenetrable and unseen. When you control feedback, you control influence. You shape outcomes without ever exposing your hand. Ignoring feedback without strategy leads to ruin. Consuming it without filter is surrender. The power lies in knowing what to accept, what to distort, and what to discard. This cold mastery transforms information into control. Remember, silence is not ignorance. It is the art of watching what others miss. The moment you lose control over what you hear and reveal, you lose power over everything else. Control what you hear. Control what you reveal. Control the world. Rule 8. Overestimating others is the seed of defeat. According to Machiavelli, to fear your enemy is to lose before the battle begins. You build them up in your mind. Rivals, allies, figures you believe unstoppable. You inflate their power until they loom like giants. Untouchable, invincible. Admiration twists into fear. Fear breeds hesitation. Paralysis, the mind that trembles before battle has already lost. I've seen it countless times. The weak mind fixates on others' strengths, blind to their flaws. You hesitate, second-guessing every step. Self-doubt seeps in like poison, corroding your resolve. Your decisions become scattered. Reckless gambits one moment, cowardice the next. Neither leads to power. Both lead to collapse. Socially, this weakness manifests in envy. You covet what others have, failing to see their hidden fractures. You imitate, copying mannerisms, strategies, even words, desperate to match the illusion of their strength. Submission follows. You lower yourself, bowing to the imagined supremacy of others, shackled by your own illusions. Machiavelli's insight is brutal, but clear. This mental distortion is defeat, disguised as respect. Seeing others as flawless is surrendering your own mind. True dominance demands ruthless clarity. You must dissect everyone you face, ally or adversary, with cold precision. Strip away stories, legends, appearances. See the truth beneath. No one is flawless. Everyone bleeds. Everyone hides fractures behind masks. Their strengths are only weapons if you allow them to be. Your power lies in uncovering their cracks before they strike, in knowing their fears, their habits, their weaknesses better than they do themselves. When you remove distortion, the battlefield shifts. It belongs to you before the fight begins. You dismantle illusions, control outcomes with quiet certainty. Your mind remains steady, unswayed by false impressions. You act with cold efficiency. You dominate without hesitation. To overestimate others is to hand them your mind. To conquer, you must see as Machiavelli saw. Unflinching, unswayed, unsparing. Clarity is your sharpest weapon. Sharper than any blade. Look around. Those you feared, those you idolized, none are gods. They are mortal, fragile, predictable. The mind that sees clearly does not stumble. It conquers without mercy. Remember this: giants exist only in the minds of the fearful. Final rule: mastery of the weak mindset is mastery of silent power. According to Machiavelli, the mind is a battlefield, and victory belongs to those who destroy weakness within. You face a brutal reality. The greatest war is fought within yourself. Every flicker of doubt, every desire for approval, every hesitation, it's a trap you've set. These are not mere thoughts, but snares laid carefully in the dark corners of your mind, waiting to collapse you from within. Your weaknesses are invitations to failure, disguised as comfort. Have watched countless minds shatter beneath the weight of their own flaws. It is a silent collapse. No cries, no warnings, just quiet ruin. Power does not fall into the lap of those who seek it. It is seized by those who dare to cut ruthlessly through their own fragility. Your mind is a war zone. It tolerates no softness, no illusions. Control, silence, and invisibility are your only allies. The cost of vulnerability is a slow poison. It leaks into your behavior, betraying you before you speak. The weak mind seeks constant validation, reaction, and clarity from others, tethering itself to unpredictable forces. The elite withdraw into shadows. They weaponize fear, mask strength, and manipulate reality until others crumble under confusion and doubt. Mastery of this battlefield is silent. It does not announce itself. It moves like a ghost, unseen but all-powerful. The strongest minds shape every outcome, their influence invisible until the moment of impact. You must embrace this dark knowledge with ruthless precision. See every weakness not as a flaw to mourn, but as a target to eliminate. This path is lonely. It demands cold, unflinching acceptance of the harshest truths. No comfort, no excuses, only relentless action and self-scrutiny. Each step forward is a cutting away of what makes you vulnerable, a shedding of the illusions that keep you weak. When you master the weaknesses of your mind, you claim far more than power. You seize the throne of silent dominance, untouchable, unchallenged, eternal. You become the force unseen behind every move, the shadow lurking in every corner, the reason others fall while you remain standing. Power is not loud. It is the quiet calm that precedes the storm. It is the invisible hand that pulls strings in silence. Mastery is cold. Mastery is calculated. Mastery is the destruction of weakness and the birth of true control. To rise above the masses, you must destroy what keeps you small. Your mind must become a fortress, a weapon, a place where weakness cannot survive. This is the final truth. Mastery of the weak mindset is mastery of silent power, and silent power is absolute.